Dev Patel's Monkey Man. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jared, and today we'll be reviewing Dev Patel's full portfolio filmmaking debut as well as passion project, Monkey Man. So as everybody knows, and especially everybody who has watched the movie knows by now, that he wore many hats in this movie. He co-produced it, he co-wrote it, directed it, and starred in this movie. And of course, he knocked it out of the park overall. So it's surprising and even shocking to an extent, to me at least, to know that initially this film was to go directly to Netflix to stream. And Jordan Peele saw it and took it under his production company, Monkey Paw Productions, and even got Universal to distribute it globally. So what a phenomenal job, and thank you, Jordan Peele, for that. So despite the strong brutal violence and hard R rating in the US and R21 in Singapore, so by the way, there is a rating R21 in Singapore. I believe Singapore is probably one of the very few countries in the world where the age classification for visual media goes up to 21 years old. That's just a trivial fact. So despite the strong violence and the hard rating for this movie, the film was raved since its premiere at South by Southwest in the US, and it has been doing fairly well in the global box office since. And my takeaway from that is, hopefully the success of this movie will impress studio executives and big name producers so much that they will be willing to finance and distribute Dev Patel's future movies, no matter how explicit the content might be. So here's a fun fact that I bet most people don't know about this movie. If you search on IMDb, which is what I did, I was also surprised to find out about this. Monkey Man is a joint production between the US, Canada, India of course, and Singapore, which is where I'm from. So Singapore pride right there. In fact, a Singaporean actor, and I need to read his name from the slide because I'm gonna butcher it. So this Singaporean actor, Matialagan, played a small role, even though I don't really remember what role he played. But I'm glad to find out from a piece of news article that a Singaporean actor represented Singapore in one of the biggest action films of 2024. So how great is that, right? So of course, the movie follows Dev Patel's character, which is an anonymous character by the name of Kid, simply known Kid as in K-I-D, Kid, who goes on revenge against the people who took everything away from him, including his mother, his family, his childhood, and left him traumatized for the majority of his life before the events of the film took place. And I guess to dive right into that, in Dev Patel's attempt to tell the full story of his main character, the titular character, Monkey Man, he perhaps subconsciously compromised and ate away the screen time and focus of the story from what I would consider to be some of the more important supporting characters in the film. One of them is Sita, played by Sobita Dulipala. So on one hand, I'm kind of glad because his character and Sita did not have that typical romance story that you probably know and easily recall in many of the action movies out there. I'm glad Dev Patel didn't go down that route. But on the other hand, I also wanted to know more about her backstory. So there was this scene in the movie involving a stray dog, or cat, or dog, never mind. So that scene in the movie involved Dev Patel's character, a stray dog, and later in that scene, Sita would appear beside Dev Patel's character and they would chat about something. But how I wish that scene could have been instead, Dev Patel's character and Sita met in that alley, let's just phrase it that way, that alley, and they started chatting and they kind of have that moment of bond and emotional connection, and then the stray dog will appear. Like, isn't that supposed to be the way instead? Anyway, I'm not here to tell Dev Patel how to tell his story. But I would say, apart from the subplot, the political subplot and background in which the film explores, which I think is quite important and to an extent some accuracy of a reflection of the ground reality in India, The cultural representation is also commendable in this movie. So the entire second act of the film was situated in the land of the Hydras. Let me just check the name. Hydras, correct. And the Hydras are the non-binary conforming community in India. So I'll try to keep my discussion here short and brief, because even though I did some basic research, I'm aware that I don't know enough about this community to have an extensive discussion about it. But I would say that it's a beautiful coincidence that the Hydras saved Patel's character in the second act and even guided him through his retraining and recovery, and ultimately, of course, leading to the redemption and revenge in the third act. So by having such a large proportion of the narrative and screen time, runtime, shedding light on the community of the Hydras, the world is able to see and get to know more about this community, this fascinating group of people, and we all owe it to Dev Patel, and kudos to him for being such a great ally. So I guess in conclusion, Monkey Man is by no means a perfect movie, and let alone a perfect debut, but for a first-time filmmaker who also managed so many responsibilities in the same project, I would say Dev Patel did an amazing job, a fabulous job. The action was thrilling, the story got me invested, and the ending was such a catharsis and exhale. I can safely say that I am fully on board with Dev Patel, the filmmaker, and I can't wait to see what his future projects might be. So I give Monkey Man a solid 7.5 out of 10 and 4 stars on Letterboxd. And yay, that's the end of my video. But before we end, so just a reminder to check out my blog review of Monkey Man. I'll link it in the description below. Once again, I'd just like to mention that for my blog reviews, I discussed and mention things that I don't mention in my YouTube video, and vice versa. In my YouTube video, I would discuss certain things that I don't mention in my blog review. So if you want to check out and know my full review of any movie which I review, that I do it on both platforms, do be sure to check both out. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video, which is my review on Alex Garland's Civil War. Bye.